Okay, my friends, here it is. This Saturday morning live stream at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters, Zone 5/6, Northern Indiana. And it is a beautiful rainy day today. How many of you guys are experiencing the wonderful weather so far this spring? It was nice and cool for a long time, and it's still relatively cool, but it's nice and overcast. We'll have some sun for a couple days, and it'll be overcast, and then the rain. I mean, the rain. There's nothing better than good weather for growing. I mean, there's no amount of anything else that can take the place of good weather for growing. Yeah. So, guys, let us know where you're at, where you're viewing from. If you're watching this after the fact, let us know what is working so far in your area. What is the weather like? Are you experiencing like unusually cool or rainy seasons? Now, I don't really know what's. I mean, I have to say I don't really know what's usual here anymore. I thought I did, but then we have several years of just straight drought. The last year, there was no rain for months, for weeks and months, and just a little tiny and all the grass turned totally brown. I mean, I got videos of the trees were dropping their leaves in summertime, in the middle of summer, because there was just no rain and everything was crispy brown. And that happened, that was extreme, but for the past 3 seasons, we've had a huge, long 8, 10, 12-week drought. Now, this year, though, is more like it was in 2019, 2020, where it's like wet. It's raining every other day. That's why we had to build these beds in this exact way that we did, because these beds can take drought or heavy rains. And that's really important. If we were building sunken beds or something like that, everything would be totally just saturated by now. Yeah. So, okay, guys, let's see who is here. What's up, Teets, my friend? Yes, we'll be seeing you on Monday. Beck, hello, Viking Tribe from sunny Nebraska. We've dived right into summer from a wet spring. The season is in full swing. Nice. Yes, same here. Same here. Keith Scott, Spawn Viking Grow. Yes, Matt Wares. Hello, my friend. Serena Norell is here. Wonderful. Got 3 tomato plants transplanted before it was time to get ready and go to church food pantry. 2 plants are still on the swing. Hopefully it won't get windy. Yes, well, you need to get them in the ground. Definitely. You want to get them into the ground ASAP. Regina RN says rainy here also. UP of Michigan, 50 degrees. Oh yeah, it's cool right here right now, definitely, but it's not like unreasonable by any means. It's still 9 degrees below the average. It's been below average every single day that I've looked, but this is a pretty good forecast. I mean, this is pretty good forecast. It did have more rain than that, but you see, it's going to be getting pretty hot here. 93, 94, full sun. That's pretty hot. It's going to be a muggy hot as well. So it's not like a Northern California 94 where it's just bone dry. That's a totally different kind of heat. It really is. The dry heat. Yeah. So what's up, Freeberg? Good to see you here. Not sure I've seen you here on the past couple of weeks. Yes, Beck says, so right. With this sun for 4 days, my cucumbers have literally more than doubled and sunflowers are popping everywhere. Yes, definitely. Now, one thing I'm experiencing, though, because it's just not drying out really, is that the cucumbers are wanting to get some downy mildew. Unfortunately, they're wanting to get some downy mildew. So downy mildew is relatively easy to control. It just, I never had it before I won't get into that now, but so the downy mildew. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to take about 2 mils of the JDOM sulfur and 2 mils of the JDOM wetting agent, and then a little splash of a microbial inoculant such as a JMS or an aerated compost tea, or even just a worm casting extract, because you only need a little bit. And we're going to spray that onto the leaves of the plant, and that's going to change the pH to the point where the molds and the fungi won't take hold so much on the leaf. So you can definitely stop the spread of downy mildew. So we're going to, I'm documenting it now to show how it does. It's not bad or anything, but that's the whole thing that you want to do. You want to go throughout your garden and have a practice where you're watching, where you're looking over things and you're putting eyes on stuff and you're just seeing the leaves of everything. That's the most important thing. Literally the most important element is to have a practice where you walk through the garden every day. You have to, because if you, well, I'll get to it later or something, you'll miss things. And if you catch things right at the beginning, you can solve most things. You can stop them from spreading, or you can solve them. But if you just, it's fine, it's growing, okay, I'm done, I don't have to go out there and look. No, you'll come 3 or 4 days later and say, oh man, this thing's got downy mildew all over it. Well, at that point, it's too late. But if you caught it at the very beginning signs, when you just started to see the interveinal chlorosis, the interveinal leafing, yellowing, that is really sectioned off, especially on the cucumber plant. Yeah, you'll see each cell, and it only happens to some of the cells on the leaf. So if you see that, like when it's just starting to happen, then boom, you can spray, and it will halt the progress of it. Yeah, you can never. There's nothing that will recover the leaves that were affected by downy mildew, though. So you'll cut those off. Yes, yes, yes. Let us see here. Oh, it says VA Green, new member. All right. Welcome, VA Green. Let's see here. Okay. So Matt Ware says, something got into one of my pepper plants and ate almost all the leaves. I separated it from the rest of the plants and hope it will recover. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Typically, I don't have issues with the peppers unless it's like deer or something. Deer will ravage it, huh? Deer can ravage it. Let's see here. AK Froggy says, does anyone know what is causing the cucumber stem rot this year? Lots of people here seem to have that problem. Is it exceptionally wet? And is the soil well draining? And, you know, cucumbers can be really finicky. Cucumbers can be finicky. Is this microphone working? Cucumbers can be real finicky. Partly because, and like I'm always saying, guys, we have to keep in mind that none of these plants that we grow out here in the garden exist in nature in this way. And they definitely don't grow exactly in the location where we plant them. You know, when you go to the forest or when you observe nature, certain plants only really grow in certain areas because that's what they've adapted to over the eons of time. And so if you took a redwood tree, for example, which grows really well on the foggy coast of Northern California, the Pacific Northwest, grows real well there, real temperate and stuff. If you take one of those and you try to grow it in northern Indiana, it won't grow. It just won't grow, because even if you do really fertile soil and you're watering it all the time, it just won't grow. A giant coast redwood, because the conditions are not what it evolved with. And so you can't just transplant plants like that and expect them to grow. Yet we do it all the time with the plants that we grow in the garden. Not only that, but they've been selectively handpicked, selectively bred by humans for so long, hundreds, if not thousands of years, that they hardly even resemble the wild plant that they came from. Yeah, most people think that well, I don't know if most people think this, but I know this. A lot of people think that, like if you see on Baker Creek Seeds, oh, a brand new tomato variety just came out. Wow. A lot of people will think that they'll have images in their mind of someone like going deep into the Amazon. Oh, I found a new one. I found a new tomato variety. Let's bring it back and everyone can grow it. That's not at all how it happens. It's somebody bred a new variety. Somebody crossed this, crossed that, you know, and genetically did this and that. Different than genetic GMO, of course, but that's how they get those. You know, it's all breeding and stuff. And so the plants that we grow here have lost, every time that you breed them like that, they lose some of their natural vigor and some of their natural ability to survive really well. And so we essentially in the garden have a huge garden full of like misfits, or full of full of plants that do not have the home field advantage, yeah, and can't ward off the predators that are naturally in the area. They can't naturally ward off the insects. I mean, if you go out into, if you've got land or something and you've got like a brush line, woods and stuff, you can observe that and you can say, why do none of these weeds and stuff, why do these brambles and why does this and that never really get eaten? But yet my garden plants get destroyed, because the native ones have developed the capabilities to withstand those predators in that area. But our plants have not. It's just like a tender little buffet for the deer. You ever wonder, well, the deer don't mess with these thistles. The deer, why don't you eat all these thistles instead? Or why don't you eat the dandelions instead? But no, because they've got different defenses. So the more we look at that, the more we can understand why the garden plants, in my opinion and experience, require babied. They require babying for the most part, unless you're doing like you have it really in your heart that you want to do like a Joseph Lofthouse type philosophy where you're solely breeding for hardiness. That's the factor, is hardiness in your location. Okay, then you will lose a lot of other factors. But you will have hardy stuff. You can have hardier stuff over several generations if that is your goal. That you specifically want plants that you don't have to fertilize so much and that you don't have to, that can grow in your harsh environment. Okay, fair enough. But you're going to lose a lot of other things. If you're like me and you like real specific traits of certain things, like the Kalima green beans, for example, I prefer those big time over the Landreth stringless green beans. Yeah, because the Landreth stringless, even though they say they're stringless, that you eat them, and so many times I've had these, you're eating them and it's like, oh, these are good, but then you got like this mouthful of hairs that it's so fibrous, they're just like unenjoyable, but the Kalima green bean, very tender, very enjoyable. Yeah, so the Landreth and others could be much more hardy, or you could breed something that is more hardy, yes, but you're losing these characteristics that you like. Or the flowers, the specific flowers, you would lose the characteristics if you're going for that. Yeah, so I don't know what sent me down that path, but just things to keep in mind when we are working with the garden, when we're working with nature, when we're trying to decide, okay, what to put where and what to incorporate. We want to understand all these things. Yes, we want to understand all these things. So let's just see here. Ooh, Beck says, Nate, I sent some virtual flowers for Tegan's birthday via email. If you want a tuber of those peonies this fall, let me know. Ooh, nice. I don't think I saw any virtual flowers for Tegan's birthday, but that's nice. She had an awesome time last week, guys. We went to laser tag, which was super fun. And then we went back to my parents' house and had a little birthday party, and she got this massive slip and slide. You guys remember those? But this thing is like a real slip and slide. It's like 10 feet wide by 50 feet long and like heavy duty. It's not like a little tiny toy. It's like it's pretty cool. So we're looking forward to using that this year. Yeah. Let's see here. Freebird says, Nate, I just finished my 8 new beds. Took forever to fill them due to weather, getting truckloads, and did my walkways with the straw like yours. It's been great. Thanks for all the advice. Yes, you're very welcome. And a lot of people are asking me about the pest pressure with the straw and stuff. And this year has been, even with all this rain and stuff, I've had very, very little pest pressure. It's I mean, typically the whole garden would be annihilated by slugs right now. When I did the 5 years in this plot of no-till, the garden would just be annihilated by slugs right now. I mean, I would be having to spray the ultimate slug solution several times, and still I'd be seeing slug damage. I'd have to put the beer traps out and all that stuff. This year, there's no slugs. I mean, I see little tiny gray ones, but it's the tillage. It's tilling everything, getting it all mixed up, collapsing you know, a lot of the structure to where they live, and getting those logs out of there, getting all the leaves out of there and stuff. It just, that has, even though it worked wonderful for like 5 years here, you know, you saw how it was doing amazing, 5-6 years. And the cover crops, you know, all that stuff had done real well, but it definitely brought in a lot of pests, including the symphyllins, which are actually under control this year. And I've done nothing. I got the beneficial nematodes, but I didn't even apply them yet, because I wanted to see how impactful was the tillage, and how impactful was the aerated compost teas, and how impactful was the Viking granular. Yes, to really bolster all the life in the soil. And so I come to find out, so far at least, that it's really kept them under control. They're not totally eliminated, no. Occasionally I'll go out there and pull a plant or a flower or a calendula, because I don't really want those this year, calendulas. They just like are so much, you know. So because I got a different plan going on. So I'll pull the root and instantly look at the roots. And occasionally I'll still see a symphyllin, you know, eating the root a little bit, but it's nothing like it was. Like last year, I'd go out there to those beds on that side, pull the root, and just filled with symphyllins all over the place, you know. So and the plant was just struggling, but now the plants are all just super big and vigorous and healthy. And so they're able to outgrow the symphyllin pressure. That's the thing. So I haven't even used, that's why I didn't use the beneficial nematodes, even though it was $100 for this little tiny pack of beneficial nematodes. So, but still, it's, I need to see, I just need to see. I need to see if the tilling is really, because that's really the only thing that's different. And the Viking granular, of course, and the not using so much leaf mulch, using the fabric mulch instead, just keeping it generally more sterile, not sterile, but like, I mean, definitely not sterile, but just more, what's the word? Organized or lean. Yeah, just less places for them all to hide. And I'm finding that, I mean, the flea beetles aren't really doing anything this year. The cabbage moth, I sprayed BT one time. And that, if you saw the short that I made a few weeks ago or whatever, I sprayed it one night and that was it. And now the collard greens have no damage. The Yodfa has no damage, you know, and we're getting these all the time. So guys, the Yodfa is the summertime green. It really is. Because look, you get these little broccolini things, dozens of them. I mean, just constantly. You literally, you'll cut it, and then from a leaf node, like right here, this will sprout in literally one day. I mean, it will grow this much in 1 day or 2 days. And so you've got, and you saute this whole thing. You just throw it in there like that, saute it lightly with a little bit of sesame, cold pressed sesame oil. Yes. And just a little bit of the soy sauce. That's all you need right there. It's super delicious. You could drizzle some honey on it if you wanted, for a little bit of that sweetness to it, but it tastes like a combination of broccoli and asparagus. And it grows really well in the heat. And because you eat all parts of it, even these little flower nodes, everything is edible, 100%. See the flower? You eat that whole thing. Even when it starts to put out the white flowers, you eat the flowers, the whole part of the plant, and it remains tender and delicious. It's unbelievable. So these are a really good thing to grow. But they are a brassica, and so they will get wiped out by the cabbage moth. But this year, I mean, I used the BT one time, but everything is so healthy, and I can just tell that the tillage did it, because it's almost like turning a compost pile. You know how you reinvigorate your compost pile? It really, like, you know, once you turn it, then it heats up again and everything starts to decompose again. It feels like in a similar way, you know, what we've done. But again, we're not doing industrial type tillage where we just deep plow all the way, you know, several feet, and we just get down there and ravage the soil over and over and over, and then spray toxic chemicals on top of it that kill the life in the soil and starve the soil food web, and then just leave it exposed all winter long. You know, so long as we're done with it, we just leave it exposed. That creates dead soil. But I'm finding in different places over the past couple of years in particular that selective light tillage is very beneficial. It appears to be very beneficial. Yes. So these are just things that we learn as we go along, you know. That being said, here I didn't till 5-6 years, not even one time, and so but it's just different. You know, you have to use different practices and stuff. So you know, that's not out of the question. Actually, that's not out of the question. VA Green says, do you think the measures you took last year with the slug solution broke the reproductive cycle, so you have less slugs this year? That could be part of it. It could be, definitely. But the so in the springtime, they all hatch and they just grow really vigorously, the slugs. And then I can like dampen their populations, but they never go away. It's just using the slug solution, it's manageable. But then towards the end of the season, when I'm just kind of, I'm like, full of everything, and we've got all of our storage stuff, and all the plants are pretty much, late September, stuff like that. Then I don't worry about the slugs. And even last year, there was slugs everywhere, at the end of the season. But they're just not a problem. When the plants are like full grown, it's not really a problem. They can't really do like horrific damage to them. But when they're young, like right now, they can do major damage. They can kill the plant completely. When your yod fa is only that big, one slug can destroy the thing in one night. But when it's 3 feet tall and it's got 15 of these things coming off of it and big leaves and everything, the slugs aren't going to be able to do very much to it. Cabbage worms will, no doubt about that. No doubt. Let us see here. Alex Forgay, $10. Thank you, my friend. It says, good morning, brother. If something's struggling, overwatered most likely, can I do back-to-back labs? How often is safe? And is mixing diatomaceous earth okay to mix in the soil for silica? ECT, do you mean like etc. or soil? No, that's CEC. Anyways, cation exchange capacity. No. So now if it's struggling, there's a lot of things I would need to know. So if I looked at that, if I was like your neighbor and you were like, hey, come look at this, and I looked at it and you're like, why do you think that's struggling? So the first thing I would look at is the drainage. What is the, is it in the ground? Is it a low-lying area? Or is it in a pot? Is it in a pot where it can get really dry? Or is it in a pot that, what's the mixture? Is there mulch around it? I would have to look and see what the drainage is like. All right. If it's struggling and you feel like it's overwatered, most likely, then that can probably be from root rot. Okay. That can probably be from root rot. And if you want to post something on Instagram, to your Instagram account, and tag me in it, then I'll be able to see the picture. And once we start the courses, I'll be more active on the Discord, and you can post there. You still can post there and tag me. I'm just not on there very much right now, but I will be in the future. But I need to see pictures of it, or you could just email me. I need to see some pictures. But you can do back-to-back labs, yes. But again, those are like medicine. You wouldn't want to just take medicine your whole life without addressing the root cause, even though that's what Western medicine is designed to do specifically. That's not what you want in a sane world. So you would say, okay, well, if I have to take this medicine, I'll do it for just the time that I have to take it. But we have to address, why am I having to take this medicine? What metabolic dysfunction is happening? And then we need to address that. It's similar way with the soil and the plants. Remember, the plants and me are one. The soil and me are one. And so we can use the same philosophies, the same systems of thought and of evaluation that we do with the soil that we do with our bodies and ourselves. And so we wouldn't just keep throwing medicine at it. So you need to address the cause. And then beyond that, though, yes, you could do back-to-back labs, definitely. because the whole goal of it is to really get these voracious consumers in there. Yeah, that's what we want. We want the labs, the lactic acid bacteria. Look at these guys. Oh yeah, they're in their super growth phase. You see that stuff dripping off of them? Yeah, that's because this stuff is bubbling out big time. These are the fermented garlic scapes. Oh, that's pure garlic. There's no doubt about it. Guys, fermented garlic scapes. Delicious, delicious. And it helps to soften them up. Okay, these are about 3 or 4 days behind the other ones. You see the color difference? Yeah, these are pretty well fermented. So diatomaceous earth, you could mix that in if you want, but if there's silica is very, very abundant in the soil, in the crust of the earth. And so you typically do not need to really add silica. You could if you wanted to, but what makes you think that there is a silica deficiency of some kind? That would be very rare. And if you had a silica deficiency, it would be mostly because of a lack of microorganism activity. So there's my thoughts on that. Like I said, if I was your neighbor, I'd have to look at it and I would go super in depth on it, Taylor Reindl, $20. Thank you, my friend. Says trying to save arugula seeds. Any advice? I'm shocked how sweet the flowers smell. Oh yeah, arugula is amazing. We love arugula, but once it goes to flower and to seed, it gets so spicy, it's just not really as enjoyable for us. And so we've just replanted. We started more, and arugula is one of the few things I'll do in the 72 cell tray, even though we don't use anywhere close to that many. It's just easy to do it, and we started it only for about 2 weeks is all the longer it takes in those cells. And then we just planted it out because the other arugula was 4.5, 5 feet tall already. The flower stalks were just going crazy, prolific. So for me, I get the 5-pound Mylar bag from True Leaf Market of slow bolt, even though it's obviously not, slow bolt arugula seeds. And so I'm not really trying to save seeds. I understand if you want to, absolutely awesome. Get something that's a little hardier in your area. But I don't really save the seeds from the arugula. It's like the mustard and stuff. I don't really save the seeds from the mustard. I used to do that stuff. I used to save seeds from plants like that to try to use for like mustard seed stuff. But I use so much mustard seeds that it was just really laborious trying to harvest that many mustard seeds. To really be, to get this many mustard seeds would take an unbelievable amount of labor and plants as well. So it's best to just let the machines do it, the mechanized, industrialized methods, and just buy the nice organic seeds. That's my philosophy at this point in life. If something happened and I could never get the seeds, if the big collapse happened, then for sure, I would save the seeds. And the way that I would save the seeds is I would let the whole thing go to flower, and then I would section off just a small portion and let them go totally to seed until they die back, and then harvest the seed pods right at that time. But I would uproot the rest and replant fresh stuff, definitely. So that you want, arugula is one of the things that you want a continual, overturn of it. You don't need, arugula is not like okay, I've got my arugula plants planted for the season, because they're going to bolt no matter what. They just are, so that's what that is. Let's see here. Megan McGuire says, Nate, when do you plan to make more fertilizer? I need more for the fall plantings. My plants look fantastic so far with the Viking granular fertilizer. Whoo, yeah, you ain't kidding, man. This, oh man, the Viking granular. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not even selling it right now. So it's not even like I'm not trying to say, well, buy my stuff, but man, it is. Because it's the same philosophy and understanding and recipe that we were using with the high octane plants in California, but just tweaked a little bit and for the home garden. and it is just like rocket fuel for the plants, but balanced, not just like when you add too much nitrogen and a bunch of leafy growth, but strong, healthy blooms as well. I've put it in everything. I've put it in the seed starting mix. I've put it in the nasturtium mix, and I have the best looking nasturtiums I've ever had, ever. I have not. Nasturtiums never did like as well here as I wanted them to, as I knew that they could, as I've seen them in the world. But here they just, because you hear a lot, oh, they like lean soil. They like, nutrient poor soil. I have found that is just not true with any plants. There's no plants except sweet potatoes that like a truly poor soil. Everything I have found over the years just does better with rich soil. And the Viking granular, man, whew, the marigold's just huge. Everything's just getting huge and nice. And so yeah, it's all working really good. But that being said, I will definitely make, if you guys need more, for sure, I should do a summer run. I just need to, it's calmed down a little bit, although there might be some big changes coming, guys. There might be some big changes coming. It's still a little bit early to tell, but we'll talk about that later. But so yeah, I will make another run. I'll do another run of it for the fall garden, definitely. And I'll let you guys know. I'll let you know in advance. Let's see here. Let's see. Someone said, Alex said, what was that called again? That you could eat the whole thing that tastes like broccoli and asparagus? It's called Yod Fa, Y-O-D space F-A-H. It is also known as Chinese broccoli. It is also known as gailan, G-A-I space L-A-N. And there's different kinds of gailan, of Chinese broccoli, but they're all like similar, in their growth habit and stuff. But I just love it. I just love it. And it's, so if you guys like to stir fry, to me, stir fry signals summertime is here. And it's already to the point where we just say, okay, what's for dinner? Well, we know we've got our beef from Jerry, the beef farmer, and that's of the highest quality. Okay. So we know that's the foundation of it. So then we say, okay, well, what else is in season? Meaning, what do we have from the garden? Over the winter time, it's potatoes, sweet potatoes, dried beans, canned pasta sauce, several things, winter squash, things like that. But in the springtime and now in the early summer, it's tons of different stuff. It's like, well, the gailan needs, picked. So let's go ahead and make a stir fry. We'll have we'll marinate the beef and we'll have the stir fry. We'll go and pick, 15 of these, and we'll pick about 5 garlic scapes. And then we'll top it with a green onion, that we had. And then we will, let's actually top it with a couple of fried chive blossoms as well. And then we can go through and we look and we say, hey, well, there's a couple of radishes that we could pick. So we'll pick the radishes and make toss it with some white wine vinegar and stuff. So it's just so wonderful having that capabilities. And we'll do that for the rest of the summer, because the patty pan squash are going to be coming in. It's going to be amazing. But I wanted to say about the beef, guys, remember Jerry Bates Family Farm at Yahoo. Okay. If you guys are trying to get what I consider to be the most consciously raised beef I've ever seen anywhere, the best of the best. And so as far as consciously raised grass, that's it. That's all they're eating, 100%. There's no feedlot that they go, none of that. So that's where we get our beef. Okay. And so if he's in central Indiana, and we've had some of you guys drive from Tennessee, drive from Texas, so it's not really a problem to get Jerry's beef. And so hit him up, guys. They probably have some spots left. And so you can get onto the list, say, hey, I want to buy one of your full beef or a half beef, but get the full beef. Yeah. Put it in the freezer and make that the foundation of your system. So you say, okay, what kind of high quality meat are we going to have? How are we going to prepare it? And then what are we going to have from the garden? So in the wintertime, it's roasts, lots of roasts that we have, because there's all kinds. You get like 20 chuck roasts, and or more, 20, chuck roasts, and then a couple of other roasts, and then a couple of other. You get all kinds of stuff. So then you can make it. You can with potatoes and carrots and onions and garlic. Oh, it's so good, so good. So, anyways, that's what that is. Okay. Yes, Teets. Okay, if you need more, okay, if you guys need more, then we definitely will do it. That's funny. Yodfa Gailan Bakchoy Haktua. I like it. Yes. So, okay, we will definitely make some, some more stuff. Yes. Okay. Very good. You guys are very well aware of it. Yes. Darylyn says, Gailan is fabulous. The first leafy green I was ever able to eat without gagging. Wow. Well, then that must be saying a lot. Definitely. So super good, but you got to keep it picked. All right. And you will notice, okay, if you grow it, or if you guys have grown it, you will notice that, if you plant like we did 6 plants, you can't eat them all. I mean, there's so many of these coming out that you'd have to be eating it every day. You can also eat the big leaves as well, saute them in the same way. But some of them will just go fully to flower, meaning that these will open up and become beautiful little white flowers, whole little plumes of them. And they attract straight up honeybees. I mean, not just pollinators, but specifically honeybees for some reason. They swarm these things. It's something about it, but the honeybees in particular love them. I never really seen the carpenter bees on them or any of the other stuff, but honeybees. Yeah. No, definitely not. Meyer Lemon says, hey, is it too late to plant Yodfa? No, definitely not. I just started some more. You can plant them definitely, because you can eat them at any stage. So I've got some outside in little pots that are about this tall right now. And as soon as I harvest some of the other stuff, I'm going to be putting those in. That is a really good idea. Yeah, Beck says, before getting a full beef, I need a generator to mitigate the crazy weather in the Midwest and power failures. I thought of that too, because it coincided that we got a full beef from Jerry, and then we got a full hog from one of Camille's good friends, family friends. And we had all that meat all at once, all the organs, all the fat, all the bones, just everything. We had like 4 huge freezers full of stuff. And I was like, man, this is like thousands of dollars worth of stuff. We need to, if there was a power outage for like 3 days, that would be really unfortunate, or even for 1 day. So I need to get a generator. I know, just enough to run the freezers. That would be the only thing. I wouldn't need to run anything else. I would just run the freezers with it. So really, like even a Honda EU 2000 would do it, definitely. So long as you had them coming on at like different times, because the initial load, well, yeah, we lived on generators in California. I mean, that's all we had. So Luis Braga says, hello, sir. Started watching your channel and got hooked on JDOM. Thought on making a fish, grass, rabbit, leaf, mold all in one. Yeah, you could do that if you needed to. Yeah, but it gives you more control over things if you make them separate. I like to have the control. So the fish is a good all around, especially if you're using the bones. So it's going to have the NP and K values that are very nice and that are very conducive to nice, even growth. The grass clippings is going to be really high in the nitro. It's going to be like for growth, especially if it's now. If you guys are making grass clipping JLFs, then you want to make it with spring grass clippings. That's when all the nitro's in there, and preferably like a day or two after a thunderstorm. That is actually the best time. when the grass is dark, luscious green, and it has that atmospheric nitrogen to help it. So that's really the good time. And so make it with spring grass. Yeah, but that is like the grass JLF. I wouldn't be given to my like peppers and stuff once they start setting fruit. Once I want the fruit to ripen, it's really encourages growth because it's got other things. It's not just the nitrogen. It's got growth hormones in it at that time. So you can get what is called overgrowth with grass clipping. Yeah, like too much foliage growth, and the plant won't want to focus so much on its ripening of its fruits. But the fish fertilizer, even though it's primarily a nitro component, the fish fertilizer you can use for the most part, the whole time, except for your alliums. Hopefully you guys watched the video I made last week on the onions, and you will see that right at about solstice time, we're going to stop adding the fish fertilizer to that. Yeah. 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 So Jay Dixon says when to grow best. So Chinese broccoli, it can tolerate light frost, but once it's established, once it's like big in the fall time, you'll see it's like 4 feet tall, big old leaves. It can take it pretty cold, hard, 26 degrees. It can take it, but in the springtime, no. Guys, you want to know what I did this year by trying to just get too much of a jump start on everything? And it was just unseasonably cool. Oh, I don't even know what seasonably is anymore, but the past 3 to 5 years have been really warm springs, really warm. And so I last year I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to put everything out on this date and start everything at this time. And so I did that plan, but it was way too early this year. And we had a dozen hard freezes, after I planted out the parsley and the celery and the gailan and the green onions and stuff. And so because of that, unfortunately, it signaled everything to really bolt because it thinks like the biennial, like the parsley. A lot of our parsley is going to bolt, which it never does that. But it thinks it's gone through a winter because you start them up indoors, you put it outside, and it gets these hard freezes one after the other, which you didn't think it would get, and it thinks it's gone through a winter. So now it's trying to put out flower stems, which is unfortunate, but it's not all of them, so we'll see. That's right. Jeffrey says, I got a 4.0 in the nutrition program in college, but heard since then that there's more bacteria in our gut than cells in the body. And I believe it. Do you ferment anything now? Yes, guys, remember that. We have more microorganism cells in our body than human tissue cells. So it is the deeper you go into that kind of research, you begin to understand that we call ourselves like one entity. We say it's me, but it's really a community, a host of all different kinds of organisms, all in symbiotic functioning together. It's really amazing. Between like 50, the numbers, who really knows the numbers, but the estimations between 50 and 100 trillion microorganism cells in our gut, in our body, as a much less human tissue cells. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So, George Kelly says, last year I started canning meats. Works great. Yeah, I haven't got into that yet, but I want to. I will have to here in the future, definitely. Huh. Keith Scott says, Garden Like a Viking. The corn farmer next door sprayed what I think was 2,4-D. Yeah, and it drifted onto some of my plants. I'm working on an antidote. Any suggestions? Yeah, unfortunately, no, there's not. The 2,4-D is pretty hardcore. It's pretty hardcore. The good news is that when they spray it in the concentration that they just spray the field, it's not really as persistent as you would think. It's not as persistent as it is in manures, because in the manure it becomes concentrated, really, really concentrated. That's the problem. But things like glyphosate and 2,4-D, even though the 2,4-D is persistent, definitely, it's your garden will be fine. The plants that got affected will not be fine. It's systemic, so that they will not be fine. But the good news is that you'll be able to grow stuff there. Again, it's not like if you brought in a bunch of manure that was contaminated, that their hay had a bunch of grazon on it, and the animals ate that, and then their digestive systems concentrated it, and then you're using that super concentrated form. That's when the real problems come in. Yeah. But a lot of people, when I made that video about showing my aisleways and how it's all straw, I put straw in the aisleways, and so many comments were like, you guys got to be really aware. They spray glyphosate on this stuff, and it will wreck your garden. You won't be able to grow anything for years in your garden because of the glyphosate. And okay, so I understand what they're saying. They're a little bit confused, though, that it's not the glyphosate. That would be glyphosate actually has a very short half-life as far as effectiveness. Now, yes, it remains in the soil and in the food, and that's a whole separate issue. Very, very toxic. Yes, okay. But the issue we're talking about is being able to grow stuff still if there was residual spray on it. All right. So the half-life of Roundup is very short, because otherwise the farmer would only have to spray it once and then that's it. But they have to spray it constantly. And you can replant technically with glyphosate in like a few days, the turnaround time. You can spray it and replant in a week. But we would never do that, of course. But the thing is, okay, so then the other thing is that they're saying that it will wreak havoc for years to come. They're talking about the broadleaf herbicides, okay? And in straw, they don't really spray those as much. And they definitely don't spray grazon, because nothing is going to graze on that plot. So and then to use the straw, it's not nearly as persistent, like I said, as it is in the manures. Because if it was, think about it, then the farmer would just never have, if it was that persistent, then the farmer would spray it once every 5 years. Or every 3 years, but they have to spray it constantly because in those concentrations, it's just not the same as the manures. Okay, so now I'm not condoning it in any way whatsoever. I'm just saying we have to understand what we're working with, and what the real things are. That's funny. AK Froggy. Every time I open up the J Dom, it stinks so bad. I just want to close it up again. Yeah, I know. There was a bucket of some weeds, weeds that we left out and got in the rain, and then I didn't see the bucket for a few weeks or a few days. It was just a few days, and I went by it and whoa, man! And it gave me those chills, and I was like, man, I do not miss using the J Dom stuff, because that's what everything smells like. And I poured it out, and it's all we could smell in the whole garden. It was like, oh man. And that's why we don't use that right now. But that being said, the one that is 2 years old now at the Viking North plot, the chicken manure JLF, there's no smell to it. There's no smell to it. It's totally liquefied. It's beautiful. And we're using it on the stuff, and everything's doing really good. So definitely with the right amount of time. Yes. That's my main thing with the whole JDOM system. I would say that the JDOM is an ultra long-term fertilizer plan, meaning you will make it now, and 2 years from now, you should be using it. Not the make it, and then in 3 weeks, you can start using it, and you just add more stuff, and then no. Yeah, it's true. Yes, that's totally true. And that is actually, when I was looking into that, that is totally what I was going to consider. And yeah, they've really advanced in recent years. Yes, I know. When I was in the mountains, 10 years ago now, that was not, solar panels were just coming around, and to store the solar energy, you had to have these massive, huge, heavy batteries, like 10, 20, 30 of them, and all this stuff. And it wasn't even really that good. But now I see these little, Blue Eddies, or the, what's the other one? There's another one, but they got these little fold-out solar panels that are this thin and this little battery pack like that. So yeah, that's definitely, we'll be getting a solar generator, definitely. But that's what I mean when I say that, yeah. Solar generator, pretty much. Yeah, VA Green, I agree. So I don't think there's a remedy for 2,4-D. Nancy DeWalt, $10. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Appreciate the tip. Let's see here. Is there a message with it? Nope, just says thanks. Well, thank you, my friend. Also, I saw here a Gary Smith. Yes, thank you. $30, my friend. Says, keep up the great work. Yes, definitely. And I used that fish, made that solution. You know, I made a fertilizer with it for the video courses, so that was really good. And I've got your thing all cleaned out right here, and we will get that to you with some of that black gold before too long. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. Here's one thing that you need to get on this train. I don't know if I've showed you this before, but I just got my second batch, Vanilla Bean Kings, Tahitian vanilla, or Madagascar vanilla. Okay, that's what these are. Madagascar vanilla beans. Super delicious. And oh my gosh, they smell so delicious. But actually, I better put them back in the fridge because they're starting to sweat a little bit. I just wanted to show you guys that, well, first, before I take it back, though, I want to show you real quick. Okay, this is $100 worth of beans on sale, on huge sale. I got 2 of them. That's $100 worth of beans. That's how expensive real true vanilla is. But man, since we have made this vanilla that I'm going to show you here in just a moment, I could never consider anything else. I mean, what it does to the dish is just without equal. I've never anything even remotely close. It's just nothing I've ever gotten from the store is anything like this. Okay, so we just mixed it with some rum that Camille's grandfather gave to us. So we mixed it with some rum, and then we had another one with some bourbon. Mix it with that, and it takes like a whole ounce in just this. It's like an ounce to a cup. So this is like 2 ounces. It's just a crazy amount of beans. But man, this stuff is so amazing when you use it in the ice cream, the creamed ice, sorry, or the chocolate, then it is so delicious. I mean, it makes the whole difference. You can't even imagine the difference it makes. It's so warm and inviting. Let me just open it up real quick. Yeah, let me just open it up. So I only ordered like 6 ounces last time, but I ordered 2 pounds this time because they had a great sale on it. And oh my goodness, so good. Look at them beans in there. Yeah, so good and so rich and warm and just so comforting. I mean, I can't even. So many memories are coming to mind with that. Just like, it's amazing what it does to the olfactory senses. And so, wow. Now the bourbon one is not. It still smells like bourbon. You know, it's like whiskey, which gives me nightmares again. But the rum. Man, really good. So dark aged rum, that's what you want to use. And the reason I got 2 pounds is because you've got to let it brew basically for like a year or 2 years. Now this one is only since March 9th, and we've been using it, and it's still really, really good. But supposedly a year, even 2 years is the best. So that's why I got so much to plan for the future. Yeah, we're planning for the future there. So $5. Thank you very much. Teets says to help keep the Viking live. Help keep the Viking live alive. Any thoughts on when Thrive continues? Yeah, I know. I've been missing that, really. I've been missing doing the thrives. But there's just been so much going on, guys. There's so much going on right now, and there has been. So we've got some, and there's some things that, like I said, there's some things that might be really changing a lot, like with the channel and with everything. So, and I'm trying to decide how to go forward with the channel, and the brand and all of that kind of stuff. So there's going to be some life changes happening, at some point, and so we will have to. So I'm just going to have to bring you guys along. It's going to have to be. It's going to have to be like that. I'm just going to have to be that kind of channel, because if I'm going to continue making videos and making content, it's going to have to be more organic. As far as, there's only so many like free fertilizer videos that you can make. There's only so many how to plant onion videos that you can make. It's like, okay, you just, am I going to remake the same videos, or am I just going to use AI to say, so what's viral trending right now, and just make whatever it tells me to make, and then blah, blah, blah. Okay, can you give me a script so that I can read it? And that's what everyone's doing right now. And their channels are blowing up. Their channels are blowing up. They're using these amazing tools to give them the ideas and the script. Literally, you can say, okay, give me a viral script and make it sound, blah, blah, blah. And it will give you the script. And then they'll sit there and they'll read the script. Most people are reading scripts, which is totally fine. That's their way of doing it. I never do that, ever. At most, I will have, okay, this is from when I made the onion video. Okay, this is what I had outside with me. 1 bullet point, growth cycle. Talk about the growth cycle. Tip number 2, they got shallow roots. Talk about that. 3, they're heavy feeders. Talk about what that means. So that's the most I'll ever do for my videos. And then I just flow with it. So for me, I could not, I just can't be doing the, okay, AI, give me the script, and then get your teleprompter, and then I can just read the video script, and it will say, wow, look at this. So this is what it would sound like. Wow, look, what's, never mind. So I can't, that's just not how I am. That's not how I am. So mine has to be a little bit more organic, and as we expand, as we start looking for land, as things start changing, I want to bring you guys along with that. So there's going to be stuff that is not just about, 5 tips for onions or 5 tips for tomatoes, but it'll be like, okay, look, here's what we're looking for in land. 50 acres of woods. That's what we want, of undeveloped woods with a creek preferably. Okay, so then blah, 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 putting in an offer on land, getting our first batch of chickens, and the things that come along with that. There's going to have to be all that kind of content, and I'm not going to start another channel for that. I'm just going to do it on this channel. And so there will be more of that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's just going to have to be. And it's going to have to be more like the videos that you've seen recently, because that's just how it's going to have to go. Yeah. Thank you, my friend. Teach says, that's why this is about the only channel I watch, is this one. Organic, real videos, useful facts that increase my knowledge. Epic gardening has become unwatchable, in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of them really have. And it's just the same cookie cutter stuff, especially with the AI now. I can see the people that are jumping on the AI train, and it's working right now. They're blowing up, their content. But then, okay, the script, I know it's scripted. I know AI wrote that script, because now I know what to look for and things. And so it's just different. And that's nothing against them. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Okay. But for me, that's not how it's going to go. So it's just going to have to be more organic. And you guys, you'll learn things as I'm learning things. I will use the philosophies and the understanding and the mind, the mental framework of approaching reality. I will use that all throughout the whole time of acquiring the land and developing a bit, and the livestock that we get, the selective, handful of livestock things that we get, stuff like that. You will learn along with me, and we will experience together, but it's going to have to go that way. So, Meyer Lemons, thank you, my friend. Says Nate, yes, please stay genuinely you and bring us along the journey. Sorry about the caps lock. No, I get it. I totally get it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, because it's kind of like at a crossroads a little bit, and it will be here in the next, however long, near future, to where it's you're going to have to decide, are you going that route of AI thumbnails, AI assistants, AI scripts, AI content generation, going for the algorithm, how to optimize through TubeBuddy and how to optimize all your stuff, and you're going to do all that? Or are you going to do what you love to do more, which is just bring your friends along in your life? That's how I feel about it, and that's the most important to me, is like, bring you guys along so we can all share in the knowledge. You guys will learn from what we're doing, and all of that. So that's the route that I'm going. Yeah, more so. So that won't get a lot of views, I'm sure, or I'm not sure, but I don't really care. I just don't really care about that anymore. So that's what that is, guys. Pam says, Nate, have you heard from David the Good? I heard from him about a week after our missed live stream. He was like, hey, man, real sorry. I've been super sick. Totally forgot about this, but I've been really sick. So I was like, hey, I understand. We'll make it happen sometime. And that's it. It is. It's not a problem. Matt Ware says, you and the Ripe Tomato Farms are pretty much the two channels I watch. Oh, I don't think I've even seen them. Nice. Yeah. VA Green. I know. It's gonna be really interesting, as all the content is just, it will chinsify. Everything will become more generic, just washed out, but at the moment it's all working. It's all spiking the algorithm, and it's all working. Okay. Yes, Beth understands. It's good to learn more about AI, but prioritizing staying true to yourself, that's more important than ever. It's more important than ever. Yes. Yep. Freebird said, Nate, that's so exciting. Don't leave us behind. We are here for the long run. Definitely. That's what we'd like to hear. And that's my philosophy as well. You guys are definitely along. And so I'm just going to sort of, be posting videos about the process of how life is going to evolve around here pretty soon. So I already see it, if you follow the Thrive channel, then you understand what I mean when I say that, but it's already here. I already see it. It's just unveiling itself. And so it's kind of it's going to be very interesting, guys. It's going to be very interesting. Thank you, Seth Allen. Yes, we're going to make it happen, guys. We're going to make it happen. We're not messing around. Be About It Farm says, garden tours seem to get the most views these days. Yeah, garden tours get views, but you know what else gets more views is talking about things like chemtrails, guys. That video has got it's got like 15 or 16,000 views in the past couple weeks, and almost 1,000 comments. None of my videos get 1,000 comments like that. Okay, the older ones of the JDOM stuff might by this point, but it's insane the amount of comments and emails that I've gotten from just that video. Now I understand a lot of them are bots and stuff, but it's just unreal, guys. It's just unreal. But when I just want to address this a little bit. I just want to address this. Sorry, I mean, if you guys don't, you can tune out if you don't like to hear about this, but this is in my reality right now. So I'm still getting comments on that video, okay? And a lot of them I can't even. I was going to read some of the. I can't even read some of them. Okay, but some like this guy. Okay, wow, you really do not understand the New World Order and Luciferian doctrine, do you? They have been spraying for a full decade. They have underground bunkers, and they believe they're going to get off the planet. Barium, aluminum, graphite. Harvard itself said that blah blah blah. They're spraying. I've seen rivers of metal in my area of the garden. I've seen rivers of metal in my garden. There are vids. There are videos showing the canisters on the planes that they spray. I'm so disappointed in this video, Nate, with such blindness. Talking about me. Sealed lips is nothing new for Luciferian doctrine. They are not the same as us regular people. They get paid to do this, and most pilots are single men who are just looking for payday. And then it says, and then it was edited. It says, I stopped listening halfway through. You don't understand their plan to get rid of 80% of the population, and there's no excuse for that to me. When you are talking about this topic, then it says, do some research into Luciferian doctrine. I can't even believe you don't recognize the effects on your own mind and body and see the difference in the food. Okay, so that's a really good example, all right, of the type of comments that I've been getting on that video, okay? And so it's really, it's a little bit eye-opening, all right? But I want you guys, the inner circle tribe, okay, the guys that are gonna be along on the journey, you know, for the long haul in the future. I want you guys to understand that when I say something, when I talk about something, I never talk about something that I have no concept about. I will never just spout off about something that I don't at least have a grasp on. So when they're talking about, wow, you do not understand the New World Order and the Luciferian doctrine, do you? Okay, so a lot of people have said in that video how deeply uninformed I am, you know, about how Nate, yeah, how this other guy, it's called cloud seeding, genius. There's huge planes made for it. Pilots willing. It's not a secret. Governments admit it. Entire documentaries made already. Okay, a couple of things. For one, guys, I am more informed on this kind of thing than most people could even understand. All right. So if you guys know about what I'm about to show you, and this is just because there was a time in my life when I was deeply into acquiring the knowledge. Okay, I still am. I always will be. But I read a lot. I mean, I read a lot every day, lots. And I've made my way through so many different kinds of books. Now, a book, if you find the right kind of book, it can take a decade of life experience or of research and condense it into one book. And you can download that book essentially into your mind. So it's a really useful thing when you can read the books and stuff. So if any of you guys know, okay, talk about Luciferian doctrine. If any of you guys know this guy, then you know that this is as deep as it gets, okay? I read this entire book twice, okay? If you know who this guy is, okay? The answer, which is what this book's called, will change your every perception of life and the world and set you free of the illusions that control human society. There is nothing more vital for our collective freedom than humanity becoming aware of what is in this book. Okay? He talks about all of that. He talks about he talks about Gates and the depopulation agenda, and he talks about the spraying, and he talks about all the reptilian type, the whole reptilian philosophy. Talks about waveform energy. Talks about the arcanes. Talks about so many things in this book, okay? And he also, so here's another one from the 1990s, from the same, okay, but this was from the 90s, all right? From like 1999, I think, or, oh no, maybe it's like 2005. But this is another one. Tales from the Time Loop is the most comprehensive book yet written about the global conspiracy that emerges more clearly every day. Blah, 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 blah. And so I read this book too. And all of the knowledge that is in here, okay? Listen, this is just for example. And hear me out, guys, because this is what, when I tell you these kind of things, I'm not just making it up, all right? I mean, this one is talking, the Sumerian tablets tell of how the original breeding program was headed by the chief scientist of the Anunnaki, called Enki, Lord of the Earth. Mesopotamian depictions portray her holding blah, blah, blah. Another name is given as Mami. So after many failures and some horrendous creations, the tablets indicate Enki produced a human hybrid the Sumerians called Lulu. Yes, so I understand all of this stuff, okay? I'm not ignorant to any of it. Now, this is how I can say that I'm aware of a lot of these things, okay? But then we also got other things. We've got other things. If you guys haven't read this book, Culture Jam, from 1999, it was amazing. How to Reverse America's Suicidal Consumer Binge and Why We Must. He predicted, he called something called meme wars. He said that in the future, the wars will be fought with memes, with little bits, little tidbits, little bites of information that the human mind doesn't really fully comprehend. It just sees little things and draws connections and then goes away. So he predicted all of that before the internet was even really a thing. 1999. It was amazing. Okay. But then we also, so just bear with me, guys. You just have to, okay? Because this is what we're talking about right now. So I also read this book, and many others like it, Beyond Human, talking about in the future how we will be a human machine sort of hybrid, and the future of medicine. This was written in 2016. And this was also very eye-opening. And this is this lady's, profession. Her field of research is on this. And so you get to download all this stuff, all right? And then you can choose, and you can say, okay, so what, you run through the sense of logic. What really sounds like it's reasonable? What sounds just so far out there that it's just not reasonable? And that's when you can decide for yourself, guys. And so I can say with all of this, and I could go on and on, but I could say with all of that and much more that the spraying of the sky, I do not believe it is happening in that way whatsoever. I do not believe you have to worry about that whatsoever. And that's not just, you need to do some research into Luciferian doctrine. Okay, well, done. I have done all that. And I'm still saying this. Okay, so that's what it is. I think what's most important is that we focus on what is actually poisoning the land. When you drive through farmland in Northern California or in Northern Indiana, and you see these massive machines just spraying, dumping chemicals right directly onto the soil. You go out to the Viking North plot, and the farmer across the street is spraying something, and you can taste it in your eyes. You can just, it's like, and those are the things that we have to be really concerned about. Those are the actual things. It's all a distraction. It is distracting from the more acute things that we actually do have control over. So that is what we are, that's what I can say to those kind of comments. But I don't engage with any of that kind of stuff, but I do think about it, of course. But I just wanted to tell you guys that when I say stuff about like the spraying and the different things happening, it is not from a state of putting your head in the sand. It is not from a state of being uninformed. Okay? Yeah. Per Lath says, taste it in your eyes. Yeah, literally. It's just like fumigating the whole area. And so that is really, yes, Spencer, this is the thing. People will believe the craziest conspiracy and ignore what's right in front of their eyes. This is what we're talking about. It's a distraction from what's right in front of your eyes. It's like, well, do you see those clouds? And those clouds are not like, and I've other comments, well, I can tell you this. When I was a kid in Georgia, the corn used to grow 8 feet tall. This is literally one of the comments. I remember it. It said the corn used to grow 8 feet tall regularly. Now, since they've been spraying for so many years, the skies, the sun is so dim that the corn, now that I'm 50, only grows 6 feet tall. So what do you think about that? What are you going to say about that? And I'm like, how are you connecting those dots? How is your mind connecting those dots? Okay. For one, they've come up with better strains of corn. Okay. And they've come up with genetically modified corn that doesn't spend as much time on infrastructure. It just goes right to the kernel production. So it wouldn't need to get as tall. But then the second thing is, when you were 8 years old, were you literally in the field with a tape measure? Or was it maybe that when you were 5 feet or 3 feet tall, the corn looked a lot taller to you. And now that you're 6 feet tall, it doesn't look so tall. You know what I mean? We just have to walk through it with our mind. But they're like, oh, that's a fact. When I was a kid, the sky was sunnier. Well, how do you really know that? So anyways, yes. Eclectic Cabin. I get it. Says, I get your point of view, but the harp thing in the North Carolina hurricanes really makes you think. It does make you think, definitely. And I get it. I get it. And that's why I will never say that I am correct about any of this. These are my philosophies, though. This is what, based upon my understanding of the world, things like the harp, I forget what it stands for, but the things, the high energy and the weather manipulation and things, these are not proven technologies. You can't really find situations where they're actually used on scale or where they have any kind of actual impact on anything. Even everyone, so many people, the comments of that 1,000 comments on that video, says, look up Project Popeye or Operation Popeye. Is that what it was? In Vietnam, they used cloud seeding to make more rain on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Okay, so I deep dive into that, and nowhere can I find anything that makes it even appear like it was even marginally successful. It's all theoretical. So many of these things people are talking about are theoretical, never proven to even work. And even if they were proven to work, the implication or the scale of infrastructure required to implement it is just prohibitive. So until I see something else that makes sense in some other way. But so many people, dozens and dozens of people. There's been documentaries about it. Check out Dane Wigington, that one big documentary that 26 million people saw. Okay, that doesn't prove anything. That documentary doesn't prove anything to me. So, and I watched it. I watched the whole thing. So still, I'm looking at that. Okay, well, the language that this guy is using is very fear-based, and to me, he seems like a hype man, a little bit like a charlatan, a little bit like he's trying to sell you something. And just from my world travels and stuff, I get the feeling about people real quick. My BS meter goes off easily, really accurate. And so, okay, it just doesn't. The language that you're using is too phantasmal, and the imagery and stuff, it doesn't make sense. But that's just me, So that's what we are free to think about our own opinions. So okay, AK Froggy, the objective seems to be dimming the sun. That's more of an issue than the chemicals involved. Okay, but in what there is still, even the people that talk about that, it's still theoretical. It's still not been shown to be able to work on any kind of scale. There, as far as I am aware of anything. And the Dane Wigington documentaries is not proof of anything to me. So right out of Doctor Who. I haven't read that one. Yeah, you ain't kidding, Big Will Dog. No idea what was coming. Yeah. Definitely, Taylor. Says, my potato plants are 3 feet tall and flowering. I have to tie them up from falling over. Good Viking nutrients. Oh, yeah. They're going to love that for sure. Yes. Dusty Flat says, I have read where they were trying cloud seeding to get rain in drought areas. They need to figure out how to stop tornadoes and hurricanes. Yeah, and everyone's like, research cloud seeding. Okay, and then when you research cloud seeding and you understand the physics behind how it works, it's not like a joystick to just say, turn the rain over there, direct it, move the rain over that way, but keep the rain over here. It's not like a joystick for the weather. It already has to have huge cumulus clouds impregnated with water. There still has to be tons. It still has to almost be raining. You can't make the clouds. It still has to be almost raining. Only then can you encourage the aggregation, the condensation, accumulation of the raindrops, and make it choose to rain here a little bit more instead of over there. But even the Vietnamese, the Vietnam Operation Popeye, I think it was, that was still not even proven. They thought that maybe there was 30% more rain because of it, but how could they be for sure? How could they tell that there was actually more rain than there would have otherwise been? So look at this tool from the 19 something. Okay, I found this. My grandma gave me a thing of things to like sell at a garage sale a couple years ago or something. This was in there, and I just put it away, and see it collected dust. But it's the weather caster. Okay, it's so the weather caster, and this is from Ken Neuendorp, the weatherman on radio television. So this is how you tell. This is how you tell the weather. So you look at the sky and you see what type of clouds there are. Okay, so you see, are they cirrus, altocumulus, altostratus, nimbus, or cumulus? You have to look, and then you have to move the indicator over there, and then it has to say for the where you're at, which we would be the northeast. It's going to be showery. So it's going to be showery, okay, because we're in the northeast. It's going to be showery. Oh, okay. So that means, so what a useful tool. I was trying to understand it. I was like, how is this a thing that people are like bought? And it's obviously kind of old, but this was like a thing that you have to observe the sky and then move it to the thing, and it will tell you that it's going to be showery. Okay, well, it's settled then. Here's the weather. So that's all you really got to do is just use your Ken Neuendorf weatherman thing. You see? It's that simple. I just wanted to show you that before I got rid of it, because I thought it was going to be like more involved in some way, but it's kind of not. So it seems like one of those things that maybe you would send off, you know, at the back of a magazine. You guys remember when there used to be like magazines and you could send off for something at the back of it? Wow, and you would get it. It would be amazing for like 5 seconds. And then you realize, oh, no. Okay. Cinnamon Bear, that's the thing, okay? So let's assume the chemtrails are controlling the weather. What should we do about it? My opinion is to control only what we can. It absolutely is. And let me just finish that comment. This other guy, or this person said here, you know, whoops. I said, I can't even believe you don't recognize the effects in your mind, body, and see the difference in the food. What are you talking about? You're living in a parallel universe because of how paranoid you are. I don't see the effects. I feel amazing. I feel healthy. I feel thriving. The garden is thriving. Everything's thriving. Everything is beautiful. The weather is beautiful. It's just as sunny as it always has been. What world are you living in? The one in their mind of all the fear that is happening, and they're spraying these chemicals on us, and then there's another comment from another paranoid guy that is saying, it says, okay, they're spraying barium and aluminum. The element names as BAAL. Together, what does that spell? Baal. What is that? Ring a bell? Or ring a bell? Baal, the ancient Phoenician god of storms and destruction. So you see, they're doing it right before our eyes. They're showing us that they're summoning the ancient Phoenician god of storms and destruction. And I'm like, that is the dots that your mind is connecting. You just need to back away. You need to stop watching the news. You need to back away from all of it. Go outside, do some kettlebell workouts. You need to drink some fresh water. You need to grow some stuff and turn off all your screens and just breathe for a little while. And you will see that it's not like that. It's just not like that. Everything is wonderful. That's the reality of it. So, I mean, you can argue otherwise, but that's not my reality here. So, Teats Trees, it's like right out of Ghostbusters. Sounds legit. Yeah, definitely. Sounds legit. Oh, absolutely. St. Max says, Nate, how about all those children with autism? You must have heard about it. Poisons are injected into our bodies one way or the other. Absolutely, I agree. But instead of the being sprayed upon us that we can't control or even know for sure, but could go wild in the mind, the things we can control are the things we're putting into our body. So the people that will talk about the chemtrails being sprayed on us will willingly ingest toxins every single day without even thinking about it. They're going to drink their Monster energy drinks so they can stay all cranked up and do research into Luciferian doctrine, stuff like that. Okay. And they're going to smoke their cigarettes because they're so stressed out about the chemicals that are falling on them, or they've got to have a drink because they're so stressed out about the chemicals that are falling on them. Or they didn't have time to make food, so they just got to stop by Wendy's or Arby's because they're so stressed out about the chemicals falling on them. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm not coming down on anyone. I'm just illustrating the absurdity of the whole thing. So the people that are worried the most about that are still ingesting tons of toxins through their day-to-day life. They're drinking maybe tap water, or maybe they're not even drinking water, or they don't have an RO filter. They're not growing their own food, eating super clean, detoxifying with the master cleanse, stuff like that. Yes. So these are all things we can control. It's good news. It's good news. You can control all of this. Yes. The thing you can't control is the what would be sprayed down on top of you. Okay. Urban Gardener, thank you very much, my friend. Everybody check out his podcast after this, of course. Says, really great discussion, Nate. Glad to hear you taking a rational, thoughtful look at these absurdities. Yeah, it definitely, and I'm not coming down on any person about that. I'm just saying that I don't see it, and this is why, because my mind works in this way. So I'm just opening you guys up to the best news of all is that, like, yes, thank you, Aaron. The best news is that you have control. The stuff you have control over is what you put into your body, and stop ingesting the toxins that people are willingly putting into their body. I mean, people, I just described it all, smoking their cigarettes. They're all stressed out. So they're smoking their Newports, 100s in a box. So, because they're all stressed out about the chemtrails that are coming down on them. Okay. Do you see the absurdity right there? Yes. Well, there's just so many things, but I'm not going to go into it all right now. So the main thing is that you can control this stuff, okay? But you also have to control the infotoxins that come into your body. Again, this guy opened my mind to the concept back in high school, of infotoxins. And when I read something, look, I study it. I mean, I'm underlining, making notes. I'm saying this was back in high school. I was reading this. Opened my mind to the concept of infotoxins, that there are little bits of toxic information that are stored into your brain and that shape your perception of reality. Yes? And create all kinds of havoc. So you need to cleanse yourself of all of that. And it's possible. It's possible. Yes. Oh, this is absolutely, Mom Computer nailed it right on. You create your own reality, even more powerful now that we've reached the age of Aquarius. Also, your brain interprets your words and thoughts as your beliefs. Choose carefully. Yes. Choose carefully, guys. Definitely. And all of this coincides with more books, that we also open our mind to all of this stuff. The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, Epigenetics. Okay, our environment and our choices and our thoughts are what activate certain genes. So it's not genetic, it's just epigenetics. Look into so much the power of the biology of belief. What our belief does to our actual physical organism is amazing. It's beyond belief. There's also As a Man Thinketh the original from 1902. Anyone on the Thrive channel knows that we already went through this, and that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Yes, the thoughts that you harbor manifest as your experience of reality. This is the nature of the realm we live in. So, guys, you need to do some research into Luciferian doctrine. Sorry, guys. I just don't accept that. That's just not a reality that I'm living in. It's literally not a reality I'm living in. There is no, they're not controlling me. There's no control. So they're only controlling you as much as they can convince you that you're being controlled. Okay, let us get a serious gardening question for a second. Hey, Nate, when would I need to start winter rye, crimson clover, mammoth red clover for green manure next year? Is it too early? Colorado 6A. Yeah, it's too early. A little bit too early. So winter rye, definitely. It wouldn't need to be that big. You want to plant the stuff sort of when it would typically be totally dry and fall to the ground, and the rains would come back. So August would be fine. I mean, if you're doing it for, the earlier the better. I mean, you could do, you wouldn't want to go much earlier than like August 1st. Okay. But you could definitely do that. And that will give it a good foothold, even middle of July. But I've done it a couple years, especially the crimson clover. You might have a little problem with that, but so we did crimson clover last year. Supposedly it's borderline hardy to this area. In Tennessee, I always recommend it. If you're south of northern Indiana, I always recommend crimson clover. But we did it here last year, and it did amazing this year. I mean, nice big full crop of it. We green manured it. We planted a bunch of mammoth red clover here this year. And typically I've planted mammoth red clover, and it does great, and it grows nice and big. But here this year at the Viking North plot, for some reason, it barely got bigger than that, where the crimson clover was 2 feet tall. So I don't know what happened to it exactly. Now that I'm thinking about it, could have been them voles, though, that ravaged our walking onion patches. I mean, to the point where we're not going to be able to offer them this year. We're going to have to recoup and grow again. And next year, we'll be able to sell more. But I mean, totally ravaged the walking onion patch, guys. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. So I know, VA Green. It's like a Viking Nate Murray channel combo show. I know. I try not to do that most of the time because I know a lot of the gardening people are not into this kind of stuff. But that's kind of I just don't really care right now. It just is what it is. It all kind of combines into one. It's all like a lifestyle, a way of thought, a way of approaching the earth and life, Growing your own food is one part of it. But yeah, so this channel will definitely be changing over the next couple of years. That's for sure. So Matt Wares, your son Atticus, whose 7th birthday was last weekend, got an orchard for his birthday from his grandma. Oh, orchard, yeah. And he was super excited. He spends his time in the garden with me all the time. Do you mean orchid or orchard? That's really cool. Well, happy birthday, Atticus. Yes, definitely. Very cool. Oh, yes. Okay. Real quick. Taylor Reindl, another $10. Thank you, my friend, for your consistent support. Says, Nate, can you speak on your crop cycling, like what to plant after garlic? Yes, definitely. Okay. So here, after garlic, the fall crops go in. Garlic is going to be harvested in about another 2 weeks. Okay. It's starting to yellow back. It's starting to get, the burnt leaf tips and stuff, which isn't really burning. It's just going back into storage mode. So it's perfectly normal, perfectly fine to see yellowing garlic right now. And the scapes have been busted off for about a week now. Of course, we're fermenting them. But we also took Mom Computer's advice and made just a puree out of, put them in the food processor with olive oil and some salt, pureed it. Oh, it's nice. It's a spread. We thought it was like, everyone's talking about garlic scape pesto. Oh, we make garlic scape pesto. Me and Camille were like, huh. So we thought they meant out of just garlic scapes. So we made some pesto just using garlic scapes, and we made a big pasta with it. And it was like, oh my God, It's so strong. It was just so garlicky. We were like, fumes were coming out of our mouth. So I don't think that's what people mean when they say garlic scape pesto. I think they're using it in their basil pesto or something, because this stuff was like fire. But anyways, so we got several jars of that in the fridge. But so after the garlic comes out, we're going to be putting in the fall crops. So we're going to be putting in beets. I'm going to do a whole bed of beets, and that is for fermenting into the kvass and into various other ferments. And we love juicing them. So we will have, mid to late summer, a whole bed of beets. And then carrots, we're going to have a lot of carrots. Those will go in for the fall time carrots. But also I'm doing the large Sapporo giant cabbage. We're going to see. We're going to try and grow just giant cabbage. We'll see how it does. We're also going to grow some Brunswick cabbages. So those are going to be started. Well, I already started the Sapporo giant. So really, you can start them about any time. And once you take up that garlic, go ahead and put in the fall crop. Go ahead and plant your, but you want to have it started up already. So now or in the next week or two, start from seed your cabbages, your mostly cabbages, especially red cabbages, because they take a lot longer. But the leafy greens like shijimisa and komatsuna and the mustard greens, we're going to wait a little bit longer for those. But any of your cabbages can get started now, and beets can get started, and plant that stuff afterwards. Now, also, the classic though, you can plant bush green beans after your garlic. Okay, a cycle, rotating for several years. I did this with great success. Rotate your garlic, and then once the garlic's all pulled out, put bush green beans in there, such as the Kalima green beans. Put those in there, and then you're going to get a full run of bush green beans. And then cut them out, leave all the roots in there, and plant your garlic come fall time in the same spot. And the beans are going to really help nourish the soil if you're doing no-till method. Yeah. So that is what I recommend. Okay. Hopefully that answered the question. But then the onions are going to be coming out. So where the garlic is coming out in another couple of weeks, the fall cabbages and the longer things like the beets will go in there. But where the onions are coming out, which is still another month from now, at least, those is going to be the leafy greens. That's going to be the Chinese cabbage, more Gailan, probably, that kind of stuff. The quicker growing stuff will go in there. So yeah, that's what I'm doing there. So yes, Mom Computer, I do, definitely. This stuff was super good. I'm still trying to figure, well, I'm probably just going to use it as I would garlic. It's basically just garlic, but it's peeled already and easy to use. It's going to be really nice. So, wow. Yeah, I know. So the burrowing voles ravaged ours. Guys, got any tips for voles? Got any tips for voles? I'm all ears, if you do. I know. So, okay, guys. Oh, man. It's, we're already 8 minutes over time. Wow. That's what happens when we get on the rant, isn't it? So, okay, guys, thank you so much for being here, guys. Use the links in the description. They've definitely changed up the affiliate game now. So any of the products you see that says Garden Like a Viking gets affiliate commission, I'm going to clean up all the links in the description to just be those products. They've made it really easy. So, if you want to support the channel, do it that way. Also, the #1 way is to do your shopping on Amazon through the Garden Like a Viking link. Just get into Amazon using that. And let me know content ideas, what kind of content you guys want to see of this whole process, And I think that's basically it, guys. So Thank you all for being here, and we will see you next week. Andre, yes, not all garlic puts scapes out. Not all garlic will put out scapes. And if it had a large, fully formed bulb, do you mean just one bulb, or the whole thing was just formed naturally? Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't always put them out. Okay, gotta go.